Hello and welcome to episode 58 of Champion the Gamer. I am joined by the wonderful Antonia, and I can't wait to get into this because I've followed you for a very long time. In not a weird way, of course. But let's get into more about you. First of all, how are you?
I'm really good, thank you. How are you doing? I'm very happy to be chatting to you right now.
No, that's great. I can't wait for this. I really can't because there's a lot of stuff I want to ask you about and get to know, and so it'd be nice for our listeners hopefully to get an insight too. We
Perfect.
start with origins and just let us know a little bit about where you started and where you are now and what it is you do.
Excellent. So my background, I come from the world of advertising and graphic design. So when I was really little, I think most people, always go back to them being kids. I always loved to draw, write comics. I was watching Batman the animated series on a loop. I love playing games, of course. I mean, I'm here, right? Playing games. So been playing games since I first had my Sega Mega Drive. Actually, I found an Atari that my mum had got me that I didn't even realize that I had. So technically, an Atari might have been my first game console. I'm not sure, but I don't really have much memory of playing it if it was. But yeah, I started off playing games from when I was a little kid, and that's something that's always been really prevalent throughout my life. Me taking inspiration. I've always really loved to make people laugh and smile and get like positive reactions to people from things that I do. And that for me came through art. And so I went to uni to study graphic design and moving image. And I wanted to get into movies and be, the next Steven Spielberg. But when I graduated from uni and I started getting like runner jobs and stuff like that, I realized that I didn't really like the method of getting into film. Like just because you're a big shot in film doesn't mean you get to actually, have your vision and stuff like that. And so I started creating my own small projects. And I came out of uni and I wanted to create a game. Like I said, games have always been a big thing of mine, a massive inspiration and always in my work. And so I come up with this game, which was essentially the London Underground meets Super Mario. And so I don't know how to code. I can't create games. I'm dyslexic. That is going to be absolutely beyond me. I can't walk past Top Man without seeing tampon, right? So this is like learning another language is going to be totally different. And so I taught myself how to properly animate in pixel art. And so I taught myself how to create pixel art, and that then then it took me a couple years to create this animation, which was a game trailer to show what I imagine this game to be. I released it, and it got picked up by a few different publications, one of which was BuzzFeed, which was really cool. And so from that, BuzzFeed then asked if I would do some freelance stuff for them, some illustrations and animations. And so I created a few posts for them. I really undersold myself when I think back. Like I was just so happy to, be out of university and getting some kind of work in. But one of the posts I made was the 14 most brutal deaths in Game of Thrones. And that got posted and it went live and it went viral across the UK, Europe, and the US, which was absolutely insane. And HBO called up BuzzFeed to be like, hey, like, who's this person? We want to work with her. And BuzzFeed essentially, instead of giving them my details, they offered me a job. And that's how I started my career within advertising and branded content. And so I very much, I was at BuzzFeed for almost 10 years, which was like a really massive thing for me. I learned a lot about human connection and relatability and how to create content that doesn't actually feel like advertising, and it's what people actually want to watch and want to interact with and want to share with people because they feel something. And that really feels like a big a big part of what I do. I love making people feel things, positive things, and create good positive change, and stuff. And so yeah, so I was there for almost 10 years. I worked my way up from being a designer all the way to creative director and head of branded content. And during that time, I was like, hey, BuzzFeed, like you really need to get more into gaming. They already had like a US arm, but they didn't do anything in the UK. And I'm like, hey, like you gotta do something gaming, because all of our different competitors, they are creating stuff to do with games. Gaming is like a massive like there's so much money in it, right? It's more than film and music combined, which is insane. And if we don't get on it, as right now, then our competitors are just going to run away with it, and we're going to be last in the race essentially. And they were like, yeah, we want to do this, but if you want to do it, you have to do it by yourself in your own time, and we're not going to give you any resources. So I was like, well, I'm already, doing free jobs at this point, free jobs of yeah, free people's jobs. And so I was like, well, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it for myself. And so I started creating content on TikTok, and I was a bit scared about it because I'd never really been one for putting my face out into the world that much in terms of like my content. Like it was working at BuzzFeed, you put posts out and videos out and stuff. And even though your face isn't behind it, just when you get comments that are negative, they still kind of hurt when it's something that you've put so much time in. And this time around, it's like, this is my face. My face is going to be on it. There's lots of things that I'm worried about, but I was like, no, I've just got to do it. I've got to be brave, and grow a pair. And yeah, I put out my first video, which was um for co-op games to play with your other half, and it went viral immediately, which was absolutely insane. And from there, my TikTok grew to be, quite, to really fast actually. And I just kept on it, kept creating it. I loved getting the positive responses, and people being excited and just being able to help people find games. And from there, I then got headhunted to go work in esports. So I was creative director of Evil Geniuses for a year. I went out and moved to Los Angeles for a year. So I was kind of combining my work in esports and gaming, and then also doing my content creation as well. Then I was laid off in the most American fashion ever, about 11 months into me being in LA. And it was at that point, I was like, no, come back to UK, much prefer it in UK. And yeah, I was like, well, now it's at that point I was getting different brand partnerships. I could see it really ramping up, and I was like, hey, now's the time to, be a full-time content creator, and also um, do my own creative direction, and start up my own business. And that's where I'm at now, essentially. I feel like I've just given you my whole CV, but
You
that's
have,
the
but
only way I
I was
can,
like,
that's the only
I'm not
way I
gonna.
can talk about
There's
it.
no way I'm stopping this because the story it fascinates me to begin with, right? I've got a couple of things, but my first
Ooh.
like little question is, as a person, do you get bored easy?
No, I'd say I'm very rarely bored because I've always got things that I love and interest me. Yeah.
That was part of the thing because I was like, it feels like you're always finding ways of filling that space up.
Oh God, yeah.
And people that get bored tail off of things. And I love
Yeah.
that you have that drive for just because to go to LA and it's amazing to all this different stuff. And so it sort of speaks volumes that people that get into content and go, oh, I can do that.
Mhm.
It's not easy. It isn't.
No.
You need to be not bored because you're finding ways that interest you to then
Yeah.
interest others. Because
Yeah.
my next follow-up point was going to be like, what I love about what you do is, and you sort of said it. For me personally, it's obvious when someone's overproducing something
Hmm.
and overemphasizing the little things that then brand, da, 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 brand. I hate it. I can't do that. But you make ways of videos making them feel like they're intimate and they're educational or fun, whatever. Has that always been something you've been good at? Have you always understood what people like and dislike and had that vibe for you?
Oh, like, well, one, thank you so much for your kind words, and yeah, I'm glad that that comes through with my content. But yeah, I think I've always been quite an empathetic person. I've always been very good at picking up on the vibes of people and and people's emotions, and just even like I've just been able to figure people out and things that they would like, and been able to adapt what I'm creating or what I'm trying to introduce them to like fit what it is that I think they would, really enjoy. And it comes from, I think, when I was really little, just creating, drawing pictures and seeing how my mum was like, "Oh my God, that's like really amazing," or I'd create a comic of me and my gran, walking down the road and something funny happened, and just seeing like the real, like, not a fake like, haha, well done, honey, pat on the head, but like, I can't believe you just like noticed that. And I like drawing on those points and evoking positive emotions and happiness from people. And so I think when it comes to, and this has really led to me recommending people games. And so I found before I started creating content, I kind of figured out that there's a lot of people that like playing games but don't consider themselves as gamers. And I think there's a load of different reasons for that, right? Like if you think of a gamer, you've got the stereotype of like, a dude in his mum's basement covered in Cheeto dust, smack talking kids online. Like, yeah, that's me, apart from, being a dude and being in my mum's basement. But like I think that there's so many different ways in which a gamer looks like that, but people just don't connect the dots. And I love being able to connect those dots and sharing things that I love, and getting people to like join in a way that they feel comfortable in doing. So I started recommending different games for friends and colleagues at work, because I just like, oh, you like this TV program? You know what? Try this game. You can play that for free. I think you might like it. And they're like, okay. And then next thing they know, like, oh my God, can you like recommend me another? Or like, this was wicked. Like, I didn't realize I'd like this sort of thing. And that kind of thing, it just really, I get a real spark and joy from it. Like my dopamine just goes from doing that. And so I just love doing it on a grander scale as well, because if I can make one person smile in, in a piece of content, then I feel like I've done my job. What I've put on myself, I feel like it's a job now for me to make people smile.
Because we have that, because you said earlier about the whole, becoming a runner on film sets and all this different kind of stuff. And you found ways that, not ways, you found that stories can be told in different ways and in
Hmm.
more pure ways, perhaps, because video games themselves can be a great storyteller. And I feel like what you've done is found this way of eking out a path for yourself that is true to you. And I think a lot of people don't find that. They just go along with the curve a bit more. They ride the wave too much. And so, has it always been a passion of yours to stay true to who you are? Because it is easy to get swept up in this. I've seen people
Yeah.
fall off that are chasing likes and chasing comments and everything. It's hard to get off of that pattern of doing that. But has it always been one of those things where you're like, no, no, I'm me. I'm sticking to who I am. Deal with it. And then from that, it's sort of bred its own rewards.
Oh God, I think there's a whole mix of things that I can say to that. I think first of all, it is like, as someone who's in my journey where I'm at now, it is still a struggle to be authentic and do the stuff that I want when you're having to fight algorithms and likes, and especially because I'm wanting to make money as well. And then all of a sudden when you're, the last when brands start looking at your videos, performance, the last 5 videos, that's what they're going to average out. That's how much they think you're going to be worth. All of a sudden you're like, there's a bit more pressure to create content that is going to keep your views up and your engagement rate up, because it basically means, am I going to be able to eat and pay my mortgage or not? And so that's quite difficult, but and that's kind of something that I'm working through at the moment now. But before, I think when I'm an only child, and I don't know if that means something to like the way I am, and I was also the first grandchild in my family, and so I've always been very much encouraged to like do stuff and try things out um, and be myself a bit more. But there was a point when when I was a kid that I've always been quite a happy person and quite energetic and really positive. I don't like being negative at all. But there was different points growing up where I remember playing basketball in PE, and I'm like I was like, oh, I'll give it a go. And I'm like, bouncing around and stuff like that. And then because I got I got past someone or whatever, that person started, crying and being angry and stuff. And then my teacher told me, oh, maybe I should tone it down a bit. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe that's not quite that okay. Maybe I should like hold myself back a bit more. And then, when you're going as a teenager, it's not cool enough to be, it's not cool to be excited or happy about stuff. And so, I was kind of fighting that when I was just always wanting to be, happy and positive about things. But also like I'm a gay woman as well. And so there was always like an element of not necessarily hiding who I was, but not really understanding. And then I think kind of going through that motion as like in my early 20s of like who am I actually, and kind of going through that process of wow, I feel like I've been hiding a part of myself. Um, how like I I've done that for so many years. I don't want to do that anymore. I actually just want to be me and do and walk my own path. And I've already done the hard bit of like coming out to family and friends, and coming out every time I start a new job or meet a new person. It's always that kind of thing. So I think because I've had those kind of moments of this is working, this isn't working, um, this doesn't feel right, it's just led me to just be like, no, I've just kind of got to go for it. And also, I've had massive support from my family as well. It was just me and my mum growing up when I was a kid. And my mum's always been exceptionally like, you just got to try it, always have backups, but just go for it, try it because you don't want to have the regret of not trying. And so I've always tried to live my life of no regrets, although I'm kind of thinking of that tattoo now. Was it on is it Meet the Millers or something like that? And the guy's got no regrets.
Oh yeah, meet the
But
Poppers.
yeah,
Yeah,
like try
yeah,
and try and live my
yeah,
life without
yeah.
any without any regrets. Um, because I can't stand the thought of not trying something to just be able to tick it off and say that didn't work.
I think you reach a point, don't you? Where, because I reached it probably in lockdown, I'd imagine, where stuff
Mm.
was just slowed down so much. The screw it area. So screw
Mm.
it, I'll do it, I'll try it, and I don't really care if it works out or not. Well, I care if it works out or not, but I don't really care if people judge me for it
Yeah.
because it's what I want to do. And I'm gonna try it. If it works, great. If it doesn't, doesn't. Um,
Yeah.
so just on your content then, in terms
Mhm.
of because obviously you love games and that's what we're here for and everything, but was there ever a worry for you that pursuing a job in it? So you went from marketing to, pursuing this career in game development, not think, sorry, game promotion and all this kind of stuff. Was there ever a worry that getting a job in the gaming industry would take away your love for games itself?
That was something that I hadn't actually anticipated. And one of the funny things that I find is that I probably play less games now than I ever have done. Which, yeah, I think go start when I was like, okay, I'm gonna, this is gonna be my thing. This is what I'm gonna do. This is gonna be great because I'm gonna be, writing about all the stuff that I love, and creating stuff about the stuff I love. I didn't anticipate how hard it would be to but then be like, oh, this is my job. And now I get to a point where it's like, oh, I want to play this game, right? So for example, I wanted to play Assassin's Creed Shadows. All right. And my partner also wants to play it, and we love playing things together. And so we're starting to play it, and I'm there sitting like, I should be making content about this. This is like wasted time. I'm all about efficiency and doing things together. And it was at that moment I was like, oh crap, like my hobby has become my my career now. I don't really have something that I can just actually kick back properly and just chill out with. I need to make proper conscious decisions to make that gap. And I think last year was quite difficult for me because I just started my own business, and gaming had, if you ask like my friends and peers and stuff like that, like name one thing about Antonia, they're either going to say Batman or gaming. I love Batman, by the way. And all of a sudden, because I was doing gaming as my career, I kind of lost that bit of identity for myself, where it's like, oh, she's just all about games, like, oh, there's no other layers. And I kind of went through a bit of an identity crisis. And so my partner helped me. She's like, you need to find other stuff to do other than just games, because it's just going to rule your life. And so I ended up getting back into doing karate. I did karate from when I was 5 for about 20 years. I'm a first dan black belt in 2 styles. And so I started getting back into that a bit. I started reading a bit more, and going to the cinema, and just doing things that were a bit more for me, that was outside gaming, to kind of balance that. But yeah, I hadn't quite realized how much it would flip into being less of a, oh, this is really fun, to a, no, I've got like KPIs and metrics, and things that I need to hit for my own growth, to be able to bring money in, and and things like that.
So, and before I get into my take on that, is there anything you can't do?
I
So you're
can't do a
you're a
lot.
black belt in karate. You're this like star student, and you lived in LA for a year. Is there anything you can't do?
I can't draw, which is terrible for for a creative director. Like the amount of times, like I've been at work and people are like, "Oh, can you just like do this illustration?" I'm just like, "No, I cannot." No, there's so much that I can't do. I think I kind of always go by the thing of like fake it till you make it, in a
Yeah.
way. Like I've
Yeah.
done talks and stuff like that. I did a TEDx talk a few years ago, and I was shitting myself, like absolutely shitting myself. And I was like, if I turn this down, then I'm gonna regret it. So I'm better off just like trying it now. And so I was just trying to fake. I pretended to be Bruce Wayne again. Like I said, I love Batman. But I was like, okay, how would Bruce Wayne do this? And so yeah, just kind of fake it until it becomes natural. Yeah, that's my kind of go get. Yeah, I've got just got to give things a try.
That's why I love doing this, man. Because I've had this. You're 58. I've done loads and everything, and you're learning so much about different people that you're just like, I have no idea. And people just impress me every single time. It's amazing. But going back to the whole like career versus hobby thing, like I have
Yes.
that because I'm a basketball coach. I'm a full-time guy doing that,
Hmm.
and people say, well, why don't you play more? So, well, 'cause I'm around it every day, all day.
Hmm.
Like, I don't miss playing anymore. I mean, I'm overweight and or whatever, right? But like, I don't miss playing anymore because I'm around it all the time. And it's kind of the same with gaming. People say to me all the time, "Oh, I've just stream." It's like, well, okay, yeah, I could stream. I enjoy doing that, but at the same
Hmm.
time, like I'm playing Tomb Raider for the first time, right?
Nice.
The 2013 game, and
Yep.
I'm like video vlogging it, if that makes sense. So I'm playing a
Hmm.
little bit and then put a little video up and record myself for a little bit, but I'm not recording myself actually playing the game. I
Right.
feel like if I do that and I'm talking to chat and I'm taking away my enjoyment of the game, I want
Yeah.
to keep that element still
Mhm.
there. So I've
Yeah.
always find it fascinating, man, because I did some writing as well and everything. It's a piece of myself I don't want to lose because it's
Yeah.
the enjoyment part. So I'm always fascinated by people's stories about how they balance that because like you got yourself and they said Sophie there, Kadia, and there's Chaos. There's always kind of different people that you mentioned that
Yeah.
have got these big platforms and they're all based around gaming. Da, da, da. They miss the game sometimes.
Yeah. I think like when you say about streaming, like streaming is something that I'm just starting to dip my toes into. And I do enjoy it because it means that I actually get to play the games. Like I'm playing Doom the Dark Ages right now, which is super fun. But when you're on stream, it's I know I must come across as like extroverted and stuff, but I'm actually really not. It's a energy that I bring together for the thing that I need to do. And then when we finish chatting, I'm probably just gonna go and like lay down for a bit because it's like, oh, I've just exuded all that energy. And I
It's my
think
coaching energy. You play a character to do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, and yeah, you play that character until that character kind of actually becomes you, right? And I think that's with streaming. It's like, yes, I'm doing the streaming, but there's also kind of a performance, right? You need to keep people engaged. You need to chat. You need to, do all the things. It's not necessarily just playing the game. And God, like I can't. I find it quite difficult to concentrate on, not looking like a total idiot, like missing all the headshots and things while also kind of talking to chat. And my brain just doesn't. I find it quite hard to switch between the two modes. I kind of hyper focus in on one thing, and so yeah, it's hard to it's something that I'm working on, and I will power through and find my way. But yeah, I think in general, like making something your hobby, making a hobby something that is your career is really hard. Like I know musicians who, who started off with, doing music as, as a hobby, and now it's their career, and now it's like, God, they do not play for themselves at all, because they've done that. And a lot of people that I know, who I think it's also an arts thing as well. Right. So, not there's not many people whose hobbies are like Excel, you know, or PowerPoint. Um, uh, but when it kind of comes to the arts, a lot of people think, oh, arts is fun, and it is. I think it's very for like people who can take part in arts, and everyone can take part in arts and have an interest in arts, and in their own way. But it's seen as a privilege, or like oh, you're just drawing a picture, or you're just doing this, like, oh, you got an easy life. It's like, no, it's still hard work. And so being able to chat to you about this, and know from your perspective as well, that it's not me, just me, like trying to paddle along. We're all in the same boat. Is really, it feels great.
Because I put a video out not so long ago, which
Hmm.
was we all love what we do and we post content and stuff like that, and it's great fun and everything. But I said, if you could be a full-time streamer or a creator,
Hmm.
could you actually? Because of the effort it takes and that stuff it takes away, possibly. It could also enhance the experience, but
Hmm.
generally speaking, there's a lot of pitfalls there, a lot of stuff that you have to battle with that you don't necessarily see on a day-to-day basis. And that's just
Yeah.
me doing it as a regular random video on a Monday morning. That's all that
Yeah.
is. But to think
Yeah.
about doing that 9 to 5 essentially, which is obviously not going to be that, is
Yeah.
just insane. So I just find that
Yeah.
fascinating to chat about.
And I
Um,
think as well, and maybe yourself and like listeners might disagree, but I think in a way, when you're held by platforms, you have to really jump on things, right? You have to, for example, on TikTok, and like I've got 218,000 followers on TikTok. Brilliant, excellent. That's like, I can't believe that amount of people want to follow me. It's insane. However, if I stop posting on TikTok for a while, I get put in what I call TikTok jail, where I can post similar kind of content that I do, quizzes and recommendations and things like that. And those views go to hell, absolute hell. And then I have to really push through and try not to get disheartened by the low figures, until TikTok goes, all right, we're allowing you now. You come back into the fold. And I'll get people commenting, being like, oh my God, where have you been? Like, I haven't seen you on my FYP for like ages. And I'm like, yeah, TikTok jail. And so I think that's quite hard if people want to become full-time streamers. And I'm not a full-time streamer at all, like I just said. But I think it gets to a point where if you've set a schedule that you're playing like 9 to 5, like every single day or whatever, you have to keep on to that, because your your viewership, can be impeded and stuff like that. And for YouTubers, they have to create a whole bank of videos to keep going live if they want to go on holiday. Otherwise, they will lose their views and stuff as well, because YouTube won't look favorably upon them. And so, yeah, there's like, I think that if people are going, wanting to go into full-time content creation, um, having safeguards in place and like trying to be realistic, it doesn't mean that you can't do it. It just means that you have to problem solve and be like, okay, in the case of I get burnt out, or I get want to go on holiday, or life happens, you need to take your dog to the vet, heaven forbid. You can, or you just want to chill or play games, for yourself. Having these different safeguards to kind of allow you to kind of do that and put them in place will be great for mental health as well.
And I mean, I've said before, whatever your schedule is, it can be one a week, one a
Mhm.
day. This is video, of course, or it can be streaming schedules. Just do one you can do to begin with,
Hmm.
that you know
Yeah.
you can do. Because if you can't, let's say week one's great, and then week two your dog's in the vet, whatever, you miss that one day, you feel
Hmm.
horrendous first of all, and then
Yeah.
after that, people think, oh, they can't keep up. So just
Yeah,
pick up skills you can do and make it easy for yourself and then build from there. And especially if
precisely.
you do that and you can start building a founded following
Hmm.
rather than these I know it's part of the scheme, I know that, but pay for followers or whatever it is, right?
Hmm.
That's not going to be there if you then go away for a week.
Yeah.
It just isn't. So you need to start building that founded organic thing, I think.
Hmm.
Let's get into more about you though and who you are as a gamer, right? So
Okay.
we do hot takes and solid debates. So unpopular opinions that are gaming related. Have you got
Mm. Yes. I, and this might be,
You seem so scared right there. That was hilarious.
no, I'm going to caveat this with it might be showing my age, and where I'm at in my life. Games are too long.
I agree. Let's get
Like,
into it.
I don't know if other people have
Yeah,
said this, but to me, games are too long. Like if I think that around 20-25 hours is probably like a sweet spot for me because I know that, I'll finish my 9 to 5. I'll come home, I'll be able to eat, I'll be able to see my partner, I'll be able to, take my dog for a walk, and then I'll be able to like spend a couple of hours, playing a game. But if I kind of do my maths, all right, and there's a game that's 100 hours, I'm like, right, based on that, this game is going to take me, okay, I'm not going to do maths. Like I said, I'm dyslexic. It's going to take me a bajillion hours and bajillion days to kind of get through. That to me is so overwhelming and I can't even pick up that game. And there's so many beautiful games that I really want to play. Like there's so many fantastic ones. And so I'm having now to like be like, okay, this game has got to be really, really like the best of the best. Like if The Last of Us 3 came out and that was like 12 billion hours, I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna play that because I'm like deep in that. But for anything new, I'm just like, no, I can't, especially if there's a chance of it me not liking it as well. I have to be really careful and like considerate about what it is I'm going to play next. And so yeah, games are too long, especially because life gets in the way. You kind of want to go out. Like Horizon, I think a really good example for me is Horizon Zero Dawn. And so I got that when that came out, and I started playing that. And obviously, it's a long game. Actually, I don't know how long it is. It's long, I think. And I all of a sudden I was having to do a lot of overtime at work. Lots of projects come in, and I didn't play it for like a month. Was like, right, I really want to play it now. I picked it up, and I couldn't remember what the controls were, where I was in the game, what my objective was. I was running around. I was getting killed by robotic dinosaurs. It wasn't fun. I was like, right, okay, you know what? I really want to stick with this. I'm going to start it again. So I restarted the game, um, played it again. Da, da, da. Same thing happened. I restarted this game four times, and I still haven't completed it because life gets in the way. And I think when a game is too long and potentially a bit, too complicated, then yeah, I think maybe it's more a case of game. Maybe my actual unpopular opinion is games are less compatible for if you're over 30.
I'm
maybe
fully
maybe
behind you.
that's what it
I'm
is.
fully behind you.
I need like a mode to be like, hey, like you haven't been here a while. Let's go back and teach you the controls again. I need those kind of modes.
Honestly, I'm fully behind you because I'm playing again. I told Tomb Raider thing, so
Yeah,
I've got this time now because I'm actually off until about this afternoon really. But
yeah,
so in the mornings I'm often free, so I get a
yeah.
couple of hours every morning, and so that 2 hours there or 1 hour there I can just play a game for.
Hmm.
It fits perfectly. Like Tomb Raider, that's I don't know 15, 20 hours probably. I don't know.
Hmm.
I'm sort of guessing now, but I can
Hmm.
explore if I want to and everything. Games are 100 hours. I'm like,
Yeah,
no, it's never, it's not gonna
yeah,
happen anymore. And I think
yeah,
once I reached, I mean, lockdown, I was a witch longer than I was a human because it was obviously free time.
yeah,
But after that, it was like I'm never gonna play the new Assassin's Creed. I'm
yeah,
never gonna play the massive open world. There's no point. I'm not gonna
yeah,
get through them. So
yeah.
I'm completely with you.
I
Completely.
would I'd like to actually maybe this is maybe this is something that I'll do, but like uh, a comparison between, like, I see you've got loads of Mega Drive games and PlayStation games behind you. Well done, awesome. I love to see that. And like see the comparison of the average game length, throughout the years and see how that grows because. Like I played the first Doom. I remember over lockdown because I was like, oh, this is a really great time for me to kind of get through the old retro backlog of stuff that I've just watched my uncles play. Um, and so I played Doom. I think I got through it in like 4 hours.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, that's a whole ass game. Like this is one, I was like, I was really surprised. And two, I was like, huh, I managed to get through a whole game in like this amount of time. Like that's actually like I can tick that off now. That feels great. I'm a completionist, so that feels good. And I played the first Resident Evil, and I think that took me like 13 hours. Like I think back, like Resident Evil is like the first Resident Evil is not better or worse because of its length. It's fantastic because of its storyline and its mechanics and its puzzles and stuff like that and the world that it creates. And I think a lot of people, especially, I can see why it happens, because games are expensive, right? We've now there's rumors of GTA 6 being like 100 quid or whatever. And I
If not
think
more than that, probably.
yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably.
But I think because of price and a lot of people being a lot more into um the dev side of things, not necessarily that they are devs, but they just like kind of look up it and they have opinions about it and stuff. There's all of a sudden this kind of link between time must equal or money must equal amount of time that you get to play. It's kind of this like quantity over quality, whereas I'm more of a quality kind of person. I'd rather have a short amount of time playing a game and have the best experience of my life rather than like trying to drag a dead horse
But,
along.
but time doesn't necessarily, because that's where I think I'm again behind you. Is like you say
Mm,
about Resident Evil, or
mhm.
I mean Doom probably, but these games that are shorter,
Mhm.
that are overtly replayable.
Yes.
That's also like you
Yeah.
play a game that's 3 hours. Let's say a Resi, however long Resi takes.
Yeah.
On the second playthrough, you get a bazooka or
Yeah.
whatever. Right? You get these extra bits and bobs that make you come back and play it.
Yeah.
That in itself is more time covered.
Yeah.
I don't need to be out in Assassin's Creed Origins and playing the same little milestone thing 15,000 times just to get
Hmm.
more time out of it. I don't
Hmm.
really agree with that. I think that's just too much of
Yeah.
a beating a dead horse type situation.
Yeah, and it's like Marvel Spider-Man. I played 1, 2, and Miles Morales. Bloody love them. Excellent. Like, oh God, when I'm swinging around those streets, I could do that for hours. It's excellent. But once I've completed the game, that's it. Like, no DLC or anything like that is going to get me back onto those games because I cannot bring myself to do it. Like I love them, but the just the thought of the length and stuff just yeah, it puts me off very quickly.
Well, as a gamer that's 35, I'm fully behind what you're saying. I'm,
As a
I'm,
fellow
I'm,
35-year-old, I shake thy hand.
I, I'm with you. I really am with you because I mean, just a real quick aside that's why I went back to more retro and older stuff because I was like, I
Yeah.
don't want to fork out. So I mean, 2018, 19, I thought I'm not going to fork out £120 on one or two games that I'm going to get not my play out of.
Hmm.
I'd rather spend that money on six retro games and
Yeah.
experience stuff that's going to give me playability because I just
Yeah.
whatever. I won't.
Although retro games, they can be quite spenny too.
Oh yeah, but generally speaking, like for me, I've had fun going back and realizing what the history of gaming is and
Yeah.
where stuff came from, and oh, that mechanic actually came from that, and
Yeah.
just it's a new lease on life for gaming for me. Again, Assassin's Creed gets a lot of shit from me, but it's just the same thing times 50. I just don't want to do
Yeah.
it. So that's where we are. We'll go on to coaches' questions now. My chance to
Yes.
answer or ask three or four, depending on time, of my name
Yep.
from questions on my page, and they get in front of me and see their reactions. Now, you're obviously known for your quizzes. I was going to
Yes.
do a quiz, but I thought, no, I won't do that.
I
Uh,
appreciate that.
question. My quizzes can get quite intense, just real.
Oof.
Um,
Right.
so, question one then is: what is your most proud achievement in content creation? We're starting light.
Um, I think I didn't realize how much of an impact my content was having. Um, I went to WASD or WASD, whatever you want to kind of call it, last year. And I was quite nervous about going because I was just going by myself and I just yeah. I just went there and I got a lot of people um stopping me and being like, "Hey, oh my God, I play your quizzes." I was like, "No way, like that's insane." And then when they started elaborating on that, it wasn't just that they were playing their quizzes, they were playing them with their partners. And I cannot believe the amount of people that told me that they would play my quizzes in bed before they went to sleep together. And I was like, I hope my quizzes aren't like some kind of foreplay for them, but you know what, you do you, boo. Um, but like just all of a sudden, seeing real people rather than the ones and zeros of the app. Um, and just seeing people just be really happy and excited and yeah, just yeah, that was a proud moment, but it was also a really humbling and like, oh my God, like my content actually means something more than just likes and and shares. So yeah, that was probably my proudest moment.
I think it comes back to that authenticity for me. There's certain people that have this vibe of they love what they do and they're putting
Mm,
stuff out because they want it to have an impact, but they want you to enjoy it first of all.
yeah.
They're just sharing their passion with you, and I feel like you do embody that. And I think
Oh,
you
thank
should
you.
take that on board because that person's felt something and the type of way from your content, and it's like you should be proud of.
Oh, thank you.
Um, what is a minor thing in a video game that really bugs you?
Oh,
I love how I always get the guests to ponder themselves a bit more.
mm, a minor thing that bugs me.
I'll give you one that bugs me nowadays.
Okay.
I used to give it a bit of leeway back in the day because obviously game development's a thing, and so I
Mm,
appreciate there are limitations.
mm.
But now, when mirrors don't work, because we're in 2025, why does that mirror not work?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I think someone needs an overpowered PC for that. Actually, I think for me, like a really simple thing is like just give me a bloody map like that I don't have to press a load of buttons to get to. I think that's the thing that I've been finding quite a lot recently. I think there's a lot of games out there that are wanting to be like, oh yeah, just find your way, dude. I'm like, no, just tell me where to go. I've got limited time. I just want to be told what to do. And so yeah, when it's like, right, I want to go to this waypoint and they don't really show me where to go and I'm climbing up a side of a mountain, going to like the worst way possible to get to there. And then it's like, right, where am I actually going? I've got to press start. I've then got to file through my different things. Okay, there's the map. I've got to come out. Oh my God, I forgot where it was again. Let me go. And yeah, just make my wayfinding easy, please. That would be great.
I'll extrapolate that even more because I've had this thing now since I'm trying to think of the game that would have first done it. But you know how you put like a waypoint on a map, or the
Yes.
game gives you a waypoint, or this is where you need to go.
Yep.
Great, love it. I'm going that way. Perfect.
Hmm.
I can accept that. That's enough. I can take that.
Yep.
But it needs now to have, if it's elevated,
Yep.
the little arrow on top, or if it's
Oh,
underground, the
yeah.
arrow underneath. I don't want to get to the waypoint spot and go, hang on, where is it?
Yeah.
I need to know if it's up or down. If it is
Yeah.
up or down, it,
Yeah.
again, maybe because I'm 35, who knows? I'm lazy, but I just need that in my life. What is a or who is a video game boss you're ashamed to admit you struggle with, or are you that damn?
Anything from Kingdom Hearts.
Okay, okay, yeah.
Yeah, those are the ones that really kind of I find playing the Kingdom Hearts games, they're the ones that I'm likely to kind of throw a controller at. I've never thrown a controller, but if something were to push those buttons for me, it would be probably a Kingdom Hearts game.
What are you playing right now on a day-to-day basis? Like, what's your go-to right now?
I'm playing Doom the Dark Ages, which is super fun. I was really excited to like get previews for it, and I got gifted the game just to say, but also I'm not being paid to say this either at all. But I've been really enjoying that because for me it's a really easy pick up and play. Like I haven't played it in like a week now, but I know for a fact that if I picked it up right now, I know the buttons and I know where I'm going, and like I can get straight into it, which is really great. And I'm really enjoying the chaos of it. And also the fact that I hadn't played a Doom since like the first one or two, and it still feels like Doom to me. And so it kind of hits that nostalgic feeling, that warm, fuzzy, nostalgic feeling that I like, while also being quite current. So I'm playing a lot of that. But I'm obsessed with Pokemon trading card game Pocket
Okay.
right now. Like,
Okay.
I think I need to get some help in terms of getting my phone and like deleting the app from me. I've got over 5,000 cards. I'm battling people, and that I feel like if I actually got rid of that app, I'd probably actually have more time to play other games. But because it's so quick and easy to just grab and and have a quick battle and get my ass beaten by probably like a 10-year-old, it's just a quick pick up and play for me. What else am I playing? Oh, I was playing Ori and the Will of the Wisp. I
Okay.
haven't
Yeah,
played
yeah,
that
yeah.
in a little bit, but I want to pick that up again. That's a really beautiful game. I wasn't expecting to cry within the first 5 minutes. Actually, I'm not really a I know I'm quite a happy person, but I don't tend to cry or get like I tend to stay on the happier side. But God, that had me in tears. That was really beautiful. So yeah, those are what I'm playing at the moment.
Oh, that said trading card game. I was like, in my local store, it's got the actual board game,
Oh wow.
and I'm like, I want to buy it so badly, but I don't need it. I'm actually trying to avoid that.
Yeah, I have
What
to just be tactical in terms of like,
yeah.
right, what is going to happen? Do I want that to happen? No, that's not good. Okay, let's just walk on by.
And pray that the kid next door buys it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is one thing that you're yet to do in gaming or content creation that you plan to do?
Um, I um I I want to create a format that people, both viewers and content creators, want to get behind, and makes like a really big impact on the culture and the industry. Like I come from like I said, the world of advertising, and in a way that's kind of like entertainment in my head. And I would love to create a like a show that's that I've kind of developed and created, and that I don't know, just pushes the culture and does something a bit different. That's something that I'd really love to do, and not, while it'd be like great because I love creating stuff. I just love creating. Like if I'm not creating videos, doing videos, I'm, wanting to create an animation or a poster, or, come up with my own game, or, I just love, or playing with Lego. I just love building and creating things. And so one thing that I haven't been able to do is create this like long form type of show, maybe like a YouTube thing, or yeah, and that kind of just starts pushing, uh, pushing the waves of culture, yeah, and just make something that people would enjoy watching and want to take part in as well, and probably something that kind of mixes the watching and the passive watching with something that's a bit more interactive as well, so kind of like creating a game out of a game in a weird way. That's kind of things that I love doing. Yeah.
But it's nice to have that vision because it's giving you something to strive for.
Yes.
And like I said earlier, do you get bored easy? No, because you've got these things in the works that
Yeah.
you want to try and work towards. If
Hmm.
you get there, great. If you don't, it's fine. We do something else. So it's nice to
Yep.
know you've got that in the pipeline. That's kind of why I'm doing this podcast in a weird way,
Yeah.
because like I'm looking at the content that's on TikTok or on Instagram. It's like, okay, question videos or
Hmm.
quiz videos or whatever it is, right? Or pickup videos, etc. Like, yeah, I love doing that, but I want something extra. I want to
Yeah.
have a bit more of a USP in a weird way.
Mhm.
I like people. I like learning about people. You said earlier about being an extrovert. I'm not. I hate it. But this is really nice. I can do this. So,
Yeah.
that's why I like the idea of championing the person in front of me and getting to know about them. So
Mhm.
it's about adding those things to the pile, so to speak. Last one, because you
Yeah.
mentioned it earlier with another game. But is there a video game mechanic that blew you away the first time you used it?
Ooh.
Because my example I've written down is it goes alongside yours.
A video game mechanic. I remember playing. Oh, is it was it Heavy Rain? And oh no, no, hang on, no, right, okay. I just okay. First of all, I was gonna say Heavy Rain when it was like, oh, you have to give the different responses, or I think it was this game, and you had to guess kind of if they were lying or telling the truth or not.
Mhm.
I thought that was really cool, and I thought like I always look at things from a creative, like artsy kind of side of things as well. And so like seeing that animators try and like to subtly animator, like are they telling the truth kind of face. I thought that was kind of fun. I think it was Heavy Rain. However, the mechanic that blew my mind was Metal Gear Solid. Psycho Mantis reading my
Yeah.
memory card and making my controller move across the floor, like that to me. And you know what? Actually, thinking back, I think that is because I felt such strong, like, oh my God, this is absolutely amazing. I can't believe this game has done that. I love trying to invoke that kind of like wow feeling in other people as well. And yeah, I think you've just unlocked a little inspiration point. You know, if you think about Inside Out, you know, and it got those
Hmm.
key memory things. I think that might be it. I think that might have been a catalyst.
I love it. I was going to suggest maybe the wind in Tsushima because obviously, if you need a map, that gives you.
Oh,
Uh,
yes, yeah.
but yeah, no, it's good to know because I think it's also nice to know where you've got these moments from. If you can try
Hmm.
and find those memories, because it is key for me personally to
Yeah,
understand. I like that because of this. That
yeah.
spurred this on. So it's good to know that you know that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yeah, I think because like me growing up, I used to watch my uncles play games all the time. Like my uncles, they both had like PlayStation and stuff, and they would like we'd all go around my uncles, and I'd watch my like my uncle Joe play Resident Evil, and it was be me and my like cousins at like 10 and younger watching this, and like my mum and aunt being like, Joe, this is like too violent for the kids, you know, but we're like, oh my God, shooting zombies. And then seeing my uncles play Doom. You know, they used to go over each other's houses, one with like taking a old CRT TV, you know, and doing like Doom matches and like us watching them. And just, I think I love the community aspect, but also just like the sheer enjoyment that can be brought of, you know, that can be created through playing games and playing games with each other.
No, amazing. Um, we move on though
Mm.
to create a spotlight. So your chance
Yes.
now to shout out either creators you really enjoy, or if you're not comfortable doing that, that's completely fine. We don't need
Mhm.
names per se, but just give us an idea of the type of content you enjoy and why you enjoy it.
I like the kind of content I like is the stuff that is informative and helps me find something new that I want to play, but also stuff but stuff that also makes me laugh and feels like relatable, and it's like, oh yeah, that's totally, you know, what I do. But I like the creators that are, you know, doing things differently and making things their twist. I think there's a lot of um accounts out there that, you know, they'll be like, oh, okay, this is a format that works. I'm just going to keep on rehashing that. And it does work, you know, for a certain amount of time. But I think that I really love the creators that are doing their thing and trying to make their thing their own. And I think for me, there's a few different creators that are doing that. Like, I really love the content that Our Nerd Corner does. They focus a lot on like nerdy stuff and handhelds and anime, and they're really making their way on YouTube, which I think is really cool. Like they've got like funny skits and relatable things, and so they're really cool. You got Hijabi Who, she's a cosplayer, and oh, the way she does her own take on different characters is really awesome. I met her at an Assassin's Creed Shadow event, and she does a lot of Assassin's Creed cosplay, and I love what she does. You got Salverhead, his photography is like mwah, like it's so buttery smooth and beautiful, but he kind of It's not just it's also like the compositions and how he brings things together to like really show off like games and um just it makes things kind of dreamy and dreamlike, and I really love that. And then you've got MC Fixer as well. Like he's a massive personality, but an absolute sweetheart. I've got to chat with him a few times, and he's just one of those creators that's like really like energetic and fun, and like he brings people into the fold, and you feel like you can be his mate. And I just love the stuff that he does there. And then lastly, you got Black Girl Gamers, I love their whole mission, which is to heighten Black women's voices in gaming. And I know the CEO and founder, and the stuff that she's doing for the gaming community, the Black community, and also just being an absolute badass. Like, yeah, I just love the stuff they're doing and the mission, because it's kind of purpose led. It's not just creating for the sake of creating. It's got a mission and it's got a purpose. And I love things that have a purpose behind it, other than, oh, that's nice.
I think substance for me is one of the big things.
Yeah.
It's you can put out the same video once a day for a week, and it can be
Hmm.
great, it can be entertaining, and everything, but at some point it needs to have substance for me to stay there.
Yeah.
Like, you can put out. There's a threshold for me where content is just content.
Hmm.
There's stuff there to watch. There
Yeah.
needs to be why am I watching it at some point.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
people
Is it
that are,
moving the needle?
yeah, is it push, not an agenda, that's the wrong phrase. Is it telling me something? Is it giving me
Hmm.
information? Is it entertaining me in a certain way?
Hmm.
Like, what am I getting out of this?
Yeah.
That's why people that do, I'm not going to pick anybody out, of course, people that do the churn, and
Mm.
you can see it becoming a churn, and in
Yeah.
some cases you can see it becoming a churn to them. They're the ones that are
Mm.
gonna that I'm gonna start telling away from, because, like you, I prefer the ones that have got stuff behind them, or a mission behind them, even, or they're
Hmm.
trying to make a statement about something positive or whatever.
Hmm.
Do you feel like content as a general rule now is more positive than it used to be? Because I think a lot of times the holistic view of the internet, especially from my point of view, is negative,
Mm.
and there's pockets and spaces of positivity. Is that stuff being made bigger now and more prevalent now? And is there more of a statement being made from those sort of things, or is it still the same, do you think?
Ooh, God, I could really talk a lot about this, and I think um, I mean, where do I start? Let me
I mean,
have
to
a
be fair to
simple
you, there,
brain. Mhm.
I would a really big open
Mhm.
space there to fill. What I'm trying to get at, really, because
Yeah.
you might have a viewpoint with it. No, the internet's great, you love it. But
Um,
from my point of view, the internet, generally speaking, is like an ocean of negativity that's filled with little islands
yeah.
of positive and informative spaces. And so my job is to be on a little boat somewhere,
Hmm.
journey around, jump on an island.
Hmm.
My analogies are getting better. Jump on a little island and experience that, and then jump back out again and
Yeah.
manage how much negativity I see.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to spend the limited time I've got on the internet just steam scrolling and watching rubbish stuff. I want to actually have fun with it.
Yeah, I think like I think content, I think there's twofolds, right? So on the one side, like having the internet and the World Wide Web and content and stuff like that, it allows so many people to break through, right? And stories to be told, and it's a really wonderful vehicle for to see people's opinions and viewpoints and like and just yeah, different visions, and like understand, like learn new things. And essentially it takes us, if you kind of think about what we were like, I don't know, 1,000 years ago, in like small little towns, all you knew was like maybe like 10 other people, I don't know, don't quote me on that. But and now you're able, because of the internet, you're able to make friends that's on the other side of the world. You're able to keep in contact, you're able to get like arts and culture and media from like loads of different places, and that for me makes content in general just this really wonderful format to expand your mind and enjoy things that you wouldn't necessarily be exposed to if you just stayed in your own little bubble. And I think that's amazing. And like for content in general, like it allows for someone in their bedroom to break out and make connections and grow community and and that itself is really fantastic. Like so many, like Mr. Beast, he's the, the be all end all in that kind of sense, isn't he? Like he's worth billions, but he just started creating stuff for fun. And I think content creation and that is absolutely fantastic for that. However, I think the problem lies with the social media platforms because, and when it comes to anything, it's always because of money, right? It's always because of greedy corporations. And I feel very strongly on this about how greedy corporations are probably the ones that are causing all the issues in the world. And so, like, if you've got if you got TikTok, for example, the kind of content that does often does well is the stuff that is like really strong statements, like has to be, either, one side or the other. There's no in between. It's all about like let's catch those people's attention and say something like quite overt, just to keep people watching and stuff like that. And so because people are enjoying creating content and they've started figuring out, oh, I need to, start saying outlandish statements or be really like strongly opinionated in a certain thing. That's how the content creation culture has kind of grown. And I know that from, for example, my time working at BuzzFeed, if when things were more on Facebook, if you've got a news headline, what you're going to click on, actually, I'm not even going to try and come up with with an example, but the more, if you've only got a picture and a few words of a headline that can be seen, you need to create something that people can click on, then want to click on, and then read through, and get to the end of it, because that's when you get ad revenue, right? And that's the same with and basically the different media publishers and stuff have realized that the more outlandish things that they say, people are going to click, and then they can get that ad rev, regardless of if it's true or twisting the truth and stuff like that. And that's the same with content. And I think that because we are now in a world and an online internet culture, where things have to be quite, outlandish, things said like quite outlandishly and like very strong opinions, regardless of them being positive and negative. Um, it's kind of bred that. And I think that social media platforms should have a responsibility to tone that down so people can start being like normal again and have different opinions, but not be so kind of black and white or cruel or like binary about things. And I think that would help. I think I've kind of gone on a bit of a essay rambling, and probably might have missed what you're actually asking me, but yeah, that's kind of my rambling thoughts.
No, it's insight that well, I was looking for personally, but it's just there is that like you can approach the internet in whichever way you want to approach it, really.
Hmm.
And I do think there is a case where we're reaching a point that there's a curve we're hitting where I hate the phrase, but smaller creators are getting
Hmm.
more of a voice because their communities themselves are giving them what they want out of it. You see all these people that have got discords of 1,000 people, and there's these little corners of the internet that have got different Twitch channels or YouTube channels, and they've got their own little communities,
Hmm.
and that's keeping that space positive. And there's more
Hmm.
of those communities building now, whereas before there was a lot of, and you're still going to get it in the mainstream, the Kardashian effect, where everyone follows
Hmm.
that one big thing. Great, lovely, but there is still that more of a powerful voice, I think, growing for these little communities, and I think that needs to remain important. As long as we do that, I think
Hmm.
we should be okay, and the balance will be
Yeah.
better. So I think we reached a point where it was like I made a joke the other day about the old YouTube, like
Hmm.
what was viral then.
Hmm.
Evolution of Dance was viral and a gorilla video because that was the only videos we had.
Hmm.
Whereas we then reached a point where there was so much content that we had
Hmm.
to dash into one big one. Whereas now we've gone back to the point where you can have your own content because this content is endless.
Hmm.
It's so endless that as long as you keep positive and you keep creative and you keep your community safe, it's fine. And
Yeah.
you've not got to touch base with all that different stuff. So there's
Yeah.
ways and means around it, I think.
Yeah.
And before I get into an anger rant about all that, we can move on. But so you mentioned all these creators before, and they're all different. They've all got their own different styles and content types, and
Hmm.
maybe not in gaming at all. Before I get onto you a bit more, What is the one thing about those as like a common through thread that makes them watchable to you?
Um, One, their creativity, um, and and I'm lucky enough to know them and know that they're really nice, good people. And that to me is what's really important. I mean, I think if someone's an arse, then that's it. I'm like not watching this stuff. I think just knowing that someone's a genuinely good person with a good heart and doing good things and for good reasons, that a lot of the time is enough for me to want to kind of keep watching and supporting them because it gives me warm fuzzy feelings. And yeah, so yeah, being a good person and being creative and trying things out.
And then let's push that forwards and do the bit that no one likes to do, which is why I really enjoy it. We're called Champion the Gamer. Why should someone be following you?
Someone should be following me.
I love this bit so much. No matter who we are, it's hard. Obviously, I come prepared with things, but I want to hear what your take is first.
I think someone should be following me if they want to feel included in a space, in this gaming space, that can often feel quite exclusionary. I will try my hardest to make you feel like you do belong as in gaming and being a gamer and show you ways that you can enjoy this even if it feels quite what's the words like quite scary to jump in. I want to be the, if you're a new gamer, I want to be, the bridge that helps you get into this hobby of mine that I love so much. And if you're not a new gamer, I want to keep that flame, that ignition, that spark going for you so you can continue enjoying gaming for years to come. Whilst also testing your knowledge every now and then too.
Because that's it. Because the first thing you led with was the mission you have, which is the inclusivity and safe space and everything. But obviously, on top of all that, it is just fun and entertaining.
Hmm.
There was that as a first port of call. It's quizzes that are fun. It's content that's fun, and you make it accessible to people. And
Thank
you've also got this thing where, and I'm not going to try and glaze you too much, but like, I mean, the last quiz you did was for 50. Is it 50? Trying to think how many you did. Be like a long list of these character questions, and I was
you.
like, "This is amazing." But you asked a question and then sit there for 2 seconds, just blank, like this, right? But even that's watchable because it's funny. You know what I mean? Like, I just love it to bits. And so
It's I find that so I've some of the comments I've had about that is just like,
it's
why
amazing.
is
It
she
really is.
staring at me?
Yeah, it's
I'm staring
fantastic.
into your soul.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But that is true though. Like some people are just innately watchable, and that is something that comes across with yourself.
Oh, I really
And
appreciate that.
no, of course, it's one of those things where people need to obviously remain humble and everything. Please do for everybody out there. But like at times you can accept that. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good at what I do, and people watch me for a certain reason. One of the biggest compliments I can give really is you have this, like you mentioned it earlier, 200 and something followers on TikTok and this massive Instagram following and everything like that. But you could have 20 million or 2 million, and you're the same person. I feel like.
Yeah.
Whereas it's and not everyone does this. I'm not saying it's a bad rap everywhere, but like it's not easy for someone to stay the same person when they get this following or they
Mm.
have this influence or whatever. And I feel like if you had more influence that you do now, which is would be wonderful, it wouldn't change who you are. And you've said about these creators that are really, I like the person, I like who they are, whatever.
Hmm.
That I feel like it comes across with yourself. How does that
Oh.
make you feel about that? Do you feel like that's fair?
Oh, you make me blush. Yeah, I'd like to think that I would stay the same person. I come from, working class family, on a council estate, you know, single parent, only child kind of situation. And I think for me, like those kind of like humble roots will always kind of stick with me. And yeah, I just I don't know. I like me. I don't really want to change that. So
Oh, good. Because not everyone is. I mean, I'm not trying to depress everybody, but not everyone's like that. Not everyone can or does like themselves. You know, it's a bit,
yeah.
people say that. It's like we have this whole debate a lot, which is people that are making content, especially for the first time, do they start with their
Mm.
face on camera or do they
Yeah.
do narration first? And I'm
Hmm.
like, whatever you're comfy with. Because people
Yeah.
make the argument that you need to have your face on camera to have, big content or good content. I was like, no. I mean, you
Mhm.
may have no idea who this is, but do you know who Chris Smoove is? The
No.
American YouTuber. So Chris Smoove had like 2, 3 million followers. He's like he did NBA 2K and Call of
Mm.
Duty for years, um, but you never saw his face. It was
Hmm.
just the avatar. But because the avatar was almost like a celebrity mystery type thing, and that
Hmm.
in itself became a thing. And it was
Right.
because he was so entertaining and so fun and joyous and quirky. And people loved him for him.
Mm.
Now, obviously, it then helped that he was a really handsome fella, but it just the fact that when he then showed himself on camera, it was like, oh wow, a reveal. Like,
Yeah.
but we already knew him, so it is possible to be yourself and not be on camera,
Yeah.
convey who you are, and I think that's an
Yeah.
important message for me.
Yeah, I think I think me liking who I am, like that's taken a lot of years of, growth and work, and not everyone is in that position, but I if you're wanting to create content, there are so many different ways of doing it, and so many, that if one of your challenges is, you don't want to show your face, or you don't want to have your voice, or or you don't have the money to buy, the best gear, which you don't need. Funny stories. The nicer my content looks, the worse it does. But there's I think like because I come from a creative background, it's always about coming up with creative solutions to your problems, no matter what the problem is. And I think sometimes that it's those challenges that you have that make your content unique and bring you to the forefront and make you different to everyone else.
I just find it fascinates me because it's end of the day, it's a person, and they're their own individual, and it's them finding their own lane. I'd
Yeah.
rather watch, and you said this earlier, but I'd rather watch someone be themselves and have their own unique content than watch
Hmm.
something that's been regurgitated. Because where the internet is so endless now,
Mm.
like I said, I've seen it already.
Yeah.
I
And
don't need to see it again.
you've got so many like YouTube bros who are like, oh, these are the ways that you can get like 1 billion views. And the way you do this is just stealing someone else's title and changing a word and just recreate what they've created. And it's like, okay, yeah, that will work to get some views in a while, but at some point you're gonna need to make it yourself. Otherwise, you're just gonna be, another sausage in the sausage factory,
Mm.
And so that was a weird metaphor
I
analogy
mean, we'll
thing.
take it. We'll go with it. We'll go with it.
Sausage, don't be a sausage in a sausage factory.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned boats earlier on. I don't know. This has been wonderful. It really, really has. I can't thank you enough for it. Is there anything you want to finish with before we finish?
Just thank you for having me. This has been really wonderful to chat about, and you've asked me a lot of questions that I haven't thought about before, or I've made some revelations in myself as well. So thank you very much, and also thank you to anyone who's listened to this who does watch my content and has been supportive. Like it means the world to me, and I hope that um, I've shown how much it does mean to me. And for anyone new who's listened, I'm 8bit underscore Bonello on your different socials. And if you have listened to me and you come from this podcast, like say hi and let me know. It'll be great to see you.
No, amazing. I was going to say that's the last part of my thing. Really, it's just to say
I
to
stole
everyone.
your bit. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
let us no, no, let us know where you are because it's important.
Mhm.
So, are you on? Obviously, you got your TikTok and Instagram and everything. You on
Yes.
YouTube? No.
I'm on YouTube. I've got two YouTube channels, and so one of them is called Gamer IQ. So that is dedicated to my quiz content. And I've also got my much smaller, but by much smaller, I mean like my gamer IQ is like 1.2 thousand subs, and then my main one is 429 subs, which I'm growing. So yeah, I'm on those, and I'm also on Twitch too. They're very small for me, but I'm kind of I'm working on it, and um, Yeah, it'd be great to have your support.
No, of course. And again, I've said it already, but I recommend anybody to go and check you out because it's
Thank you.
one deserved and two, you need it because you need the support.
Aw.
You've been episode 58, and I can't thank you enough. We'll end it here, and I'll catch everybody on the next one.